Arafah, but then they would have to declare that we are not following Crescent Committee for the Eid al-Adha announcement. We follow the declaration of Saudi Arabia. But the Crescent Committee encourages that if you adopt this, you should adopt it for every single month. Because if something is right in one month, it's right in all the months. Right? That's the idea. Yes, brother.
Regarding Arafah, right?
Yes.
So if Saudi is having an Arafah on one day,
Yes.
and some people somewhere else in the world are having the Arafah another day, is that acceptable or not?
Okay, this is a fiqh opinion. There are many opinions. One opinion is that you follow whatever Saudi Arabia says. Why? Because Arafah takes place there, and we should coincide it. Al-Hajj Arafah. The other opinion is an academic opinion, and the academic opinion is there is no link between Eid al-Adha and Hajj. There is no link. Why? Because Hajj was established 8 to 9 years after Eid al-Adha was established. And for 7 or 8 years, the Prophet ﷺ celebrated Eid with no Hajj. So how did he determine Eid for those 7 or 8 years? He went and sighted the moon. So it was based on the month, not necessarily Arafah. After Hajj was established, right, then the Prophet, peace and blessings upon him, continued to do that, and this was Makkah, so he had the Arafah. So the academic opinion is that there is no link between Arafah and Eid. The Prophet said Hajj Arafah. Hajj is Arafah. He didn't say Al-Eid Arafah, right? He said Hajj is Arafah. And there's many other substantiating points on this. One is that the people in Arafah, they're not supposed to fast the day before Arafah, the day before Eid. They're not supposed to fast. But the people who are not in Hajj, they're encouraged to fast. So meaning there is separation, there is distinction, right? But as I said, both opinions are valid. If you want to follow the Arafah and the Hajj, there is many scholars who say this is acceptable, and others say that there is no link, so you don't have to follow Arafah. Right? Yes.
The calculation and estimation, right?
Yes.
That Holy Prophet has mentioned in the Hadith.
Yes.
That's correct, right?
Calculations, yes. فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ, which means that the Prophet ﷺ said, if the clouds are there and you can't see the moon, فَقْدُرُوا. قَدَرَ يَقْدُرُ means to estimate, to calculate. So that's why many scholars say using this word, it shows calculation. But as I said, there are many other reports that emphasize the ru'ya and the sighting. But yes, you cannot say that it's not mentioned in hadith.
It is valid, right?
Yeah, it is a valid opinion. It is a valid opinion.
Can you explain that what happened here last year? Like they went against the calculations. Saudi Arabia didn't announce the Ramadan, and the Ramadan started.
Yeah, because they follow, fiqh council follows calculations, and they had calculated it, and Saudi Arabia apparently they followed the sighting. So it was not cited, but the calculations had already declared it. So again, this is what I'm saying here, is that when it comes to calculations, you'll have a date in advance, but will it coincide with Saudi Arabia or not? It's not necessary. And one point I want to make also, to coincide with Saudi Arabia is no ibadah. It's not an act of worship, right? It's wherever the moon is seen. So even if the moon is seen in Australia and Saudi Arabia doesn't declare it, we should follow the moon of Australia even if Saudi Arabia hasn't declared Ramadan. Why? Islam is not for Saudi Arabians. Islam is for the whole world, right? And there's no verse in the Quran, there's no hadith that says follow what Saudi Arabia says. Wherever the Prophet ﷺ has talked about Ramadan and Eid and moon, he's saying in general. He's saying wherever the moon is sighted. Even the verse of the Quran, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمْ, those of you who know Arabic, minkum means any of you. Any of you sight the moon, you should begin.
So what they do in calculations, like when the month is about to come in 1 or 2 days, they actually try to see the moon?
No, calculations, they never sight the moon. They can tell us today, in 50 years when Ramadan and Eid will be. So they never cite the moon. The Fiqh Council of North America, they say you don't need to cite the moon. We can calculate and determine when the day of Eid and Ramadan is. And actually, Fiqh Council has a calendar already predetermined for the next 100 years. When is Ramadan, when is Eid, etc. So they don't cite the moon. And that's why many people disagree with this approach. Why? Because you're missing out on the sunnah of actual citing.
So anywhere people are practicing this, that they calculate it and then they actually see it. And if it's not seen, they go against their calculations.
Yeah, that's what this does, right? Global citing, the Crescent Committee, that's their principle, is that yes, we can calculate it, we get the information, we make the announcement. However, we only declare the actual date of sighting when we actually, date of beginning when we actually see the moon.
So this is a better way then.
It's up to you, right? It's up to you. I'm not here advocating a specific way. Whatever is best for your community, yes.
So you just gave example that it might be difficult if we follow this green somewhere in pollination and
Yes.
it will be. So same could be applied if somebody in Australia is following the global moon sighting.
Yes.
And in North America, somebody see the actual, you see the moon, but at that time, it probably would be Fajr time or for the next day.
Yeah.
So what would be really...
Yeah, that's what I said in my presentation. To follow global sighting for people in the East is very difficult. So what they will do in Australia, and I know some brothers in Australia, we have a link with them because if they do cite it, we keep the verification through them. So when Maghrib comes, they go see the moon. Like on this day, they will go see the moon, and more than likely they won't see the moon. So they will announce that tomorrow is not Eid or tomorrow is not Ramadan, and they'll go to sleep. Right? Now, if we come here, let's say the conditions are very clear in South America and someone does see the moon. So we will start our Ramadan. But guess what? They have already finished the day and they're going to start Ramadan. They're going to start Ramadan because it's their Maghrib. When we start, they're going to start too. But it's their next day. It's not the same day because the night and the day changes. And that's why many ulama say that if the night and the day changes, then you don't follow that country. Yeah. Yes.
From these maps, it seems from the calculations and actual sighting, South America will fulfill both the criteria. And we are using the MECA data. And if we use North American data, then what are the chances that in North America both the criteria?
So you're talking about calculations and sighting?
Yes.
On this day, it seems difficult to see the moon because what it says here, look, the blue, visible if perfect conditions.
Right.
So let's say, okay, let's be positive that it is perfect conditions and they do see the moon. Then yes, everyone will celebrate Eid on the same day because calculations have already announced it for the 17th. And the people sighting the moon, if it's clear conditions in South America, they will see the moon. So local sighting and global sighting will accept the moon being sighted in South America. So that way everyone will celebrate Eid on the same day. So hopefully we pray that they do see the moon in South America. That's all we can pray for, right? But as I said, when the green is more towards this side, it sometimes can be difficult to be seen. Yes.
So you said the Holy Prophet also specifically said to see the moon.
Yes.
As opposed to Zoroaster with the sun.
Yes.
So that rules out the calculations.
That's exactly what I said, that 70% of Islamic scholars, they don't agree with only relying on calculations.
So how can we have the unity?
How can we have?
The unity for Eid.
Well, this is the step towards unity, to go global sighting. Don't restrict your sighting to only one area. Go across the globe. Now if you go across the globe, the people who do calculations, they will the sighting will coincide with some of the calculations. In most cases. I wouldn't say 100%, but in most cases.
So there are a number of scholars here. Isn't there a hadith that says someone came to the Prophet ﷺ
So,
and said that they have seen the moon in one region,
yes.
but he was fasted. And he
Mhm.
said, you continue your fast, but you do your eat, but he will continue fasting. Am
Yeah.
I right?
No, that's not the Prophet. That's what we call an athar. An athar is basically what the companion said. And this is Ibn Abbas radiallahu. It's a narration of Sahih Muslim. Basically what it was is that Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu was given this information that someone came from Syria, and in Syria they had already seen the moon a day in advance. He came, and after fulfilling his need in Syria, he came back to Medina, and he found out that these people had started a day later. They had started the day later. So he questioned Ibn Abbas that I seen the moon there, and Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, who is the Amir there, he declared the commencement of the month of Ramadan a day before you. And then Ibn Abbas said, that's because in Medina we didn't see the moon. So that's why we started the day later. So then he said, so that means that I'm going to have an extra day here? And he said, yes. So then he said, is this the way we do things? And he said, هَكَذَا أَمَرَنَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. He said, this is the way the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم taught us. Right? So it's not the Prophet mentioning this, it's a Sahabi mentioning this.
So then we should rule out global cycle.
So this is what I'm saying here, is that this is an athar. This is a statement of a companion. But you have more stronger reports directly from the Prophet ﷺ where he's talking about global sighting. He's saying that whoever sees the moon, wherever you see the moon. And there was actually a report, and Mufti Taqi Uthmani, Hafidhahullah, he has made a mention of this in his book, that there was a companion who came to the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, I seen the moon, and you people are still fasting. So the Prophet, peace and blessings upon him, again, he verified, are you Muslim? Do you say the Shahada? And then he said it. And then the Prophet, peace and blessings upon him, told the companions, okay, break your fast, because this person has seen the moon and he's verified it. Right? So there are more narrations to substantiate the global sighting, very few narrations to substantiate. In fact, there's no statement of the Prophet to substantiate local sighting. There are athar. There are some reports of companions, but not necessarily the Prophet ﷺ.
So the 70% of the scholars, they are mixed into the longitude and latitude, the longitude like Caribbean and North America, and some, because the 70% is not all global sighting, right?
No, that was about calculations. That slide was about calculations. 30% of scholars, they agree with calculations. They say it's fine, you don't need to sight the moon. But 70% say you have to sight the moon. Now that's another step, that where should you sight the moon? Should you sight it in a local region, or should you sight it in an international region? Right? And that's what we just talked about.
So 30% last, I think probably until 20, 30 years ago, there was no calculation thing. It's very recent thing.
Yes, yes.
So it seems like in 20 years or 30 years, 30% scholars have gone in favor of calculation.
Yes.
It's coming very fast that scholars are going towards this method. Do you see
Many scholars are saying this, that if not today, somewhere down the line, our children will agree completely to calculations. It just
Right.
makes life easier.
Yeah. I mean,
Right?
if you see the data for last
Yeah.
20 years,
Yeah.
if within 20 years, 30%
Yes.
as compared to 1400 years
Yes.
are going with calculation,
Yeah.
so imagine what will happen 20 years
Yeah.
from now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there
Very well point. Yeah.
Is
Not
there
only
any?
makes- sorry, not only like makes easier, also you said according to hadith it is not wrong.
It's not. It's not. You cannot say that it's wrong. You can say that there's fewer scholars who agree with it, but you can't say it's wrong. Yeah. Yes, brother.
Is there any instance when the calculation said moon will be sighted and global moon sighting will be there, but actually moon sighting was not
So you're saying based on calculations?
based on the calculation? It was predicted the moon will be sighted, but actually no one sighted the moon.
Did anyone follow this in traditional times? That's what you're asking?
No, my question is, in the calculation it is predicted moon will be sighted anywhere in the world.
Yes.
But in reality, no one sighted the moon in the world.
Yeah, you know those moon maps that we saw?
Right.
99% they're accurate. So wherever the green is, it's sighted there. And that's why there's many groups who say to sort out all this problem is let's go according to the green on the maps. Whether a person sees it or not, regardless, if you go according to the green, it's 99.9% accurate. Right? So again, I think the only solution to global unity on this is that all the scholars of the world have to come and decide that this is the method that everyone should follow, and let's put all our differences to a side and let's agree with one position. Or at least even if Canada, all the Muslims in Canada, all the organizations say this is the one we should adopt. But it's difficult, you know.
So in
It's
calculations, they estimate on the birth of the moon or the
Birth of the moon. In most cases, it's birth of the moon. Yes.
And in the beginning of the presentation, you said that birth of the moon, I mean, we cannot see it. We see the hilal.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
And in the global sighting, you said that they calculate and they then actually see the moon.
That's right. They calculate the possibility of seeing the hilal, not the birth.
So the sunnah is fulfilled and the calculation.
Yes, that's the purpose of this. The global sighting is we want to stay on the sunnah, but we also want to not deny the calculations. We want to use the science and the data as well. It's the middle path, correct? The middle path, yeah.
Precedently, okay, from what I understand,
Yes.
this is a calculation methodology.
Yes.
Makkah administrative calendar is also based on this.
Yes.
But we have seen situations where Makkah contradicts with this sometimes. They have gone
Yes.
after.
Yes. Usually, if you see the track record, you can see this for yourself. It's on a typical day like this, Saudi declares it. But look at Saudi Arabia. Can you actually see the moon? You can. But more than likely, Saudi Arabia announces it.
How?
They say we have someone who see the moon.
Okay, so you have to take their word then, right?
So this is what the scholars have said. In fact, the Crescent Committee, we have contacted the Saudi Arabian authorities and we've told them, okay, we want to accept your verdict, but tell us who's seen the moon, when they see the moon, and what's the procedure, who's the qadi, and they've never given us that information.
Is that our duty, brother? If I invite you to my house and say, this is halal chicken I'm giving you, are you supposed to ask me which butcher slaughtered it? It's not your problem.
Yeah, okay.
Makkah says it, you take it.
You got a point. But the question that many people have is that when science is telling us something,
Okay, contradiction.
it's totally against it, right? If I actually come to your house and I actually see you buying the pork from somewhere, and now I've come to your house, now I'm going to question you. I saw your brother buying the pork. So science is telling us it's impossible to be seen, and then they're saying they've seen it. They should simply say, okay, we don't follow seeing, we do calculations on the birth. Then, there's nothing we can say, okay, that's the way we want to follow calculations according to Makkah. Then there's no reservations. Mufti Taqi Uthmani, he made a very good point. He said, if Saudi Arabia declares to the world what their actual methodology is, it'll solve all the problems in the world of the sighting of the moon. But they don't.
So,
Yeah.
so just one clarification. You
Yes.
said that the fiqh council,
Yes.
they are based on the calculation birth of the moon.
Birth of the moon.
But they are following this for this year. So they are
They're following the birth of the moon. The
They are
moon is
following
already
the-
born here.
Yeah, the moon is already born here as well as can be seen somewhere in the world.
It can be, yeah.
So it means that it's not only birth of the moon. It's
They only follow the birth of the moon. This is regardless, but it's
Yeah.
showing up here. But there are maps
Yeah.
where fiqh council, if you collaborate the map and the fiqh council, you'll see complete darkness. There will be no green. And they still follow. They still say it started. Like we saw in last Ramadan, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Brother, one question.
Yes.
In Holy Prophet times, any examples that they follow the calculation and then they celebrate the...
No, not necessarily. There's no actual hadith saying that they've calculated. In fact, there's a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ disregarded calculations. He said, نَحْنُ قَوْمٌ لَا نَكْتُبُ وَلَا نَحْسُبُ. He said, we are a community, we don't rely on calculations. We go see the moon.
There was no time based on calculation.
No, there's no hadith like that. No.
Precedently, the Crescent Committee not falling in line with Makkah for Eid al-Adha.
Yes.
How many times has it happened over as a pattern?
I don't know exactly how many times, but yes, because as I said, Saudi Arabia declares it even though it can't be cited. So when it's like that, then yes, the Crescent Committee will not accept that. Yeah. See, it has to be calculated possibility and then seeing the moon. Yeah.
So that means if you follow Saudi Arabia, it doesn't mean that you saw the moon.
Correct. That's what we believe. I'm not going to question the people there. Maybe they did see the moon. It's just it's going against the science.
But if they misguided,
it's upon them. Correct. Yeah. So even if you follow Saudi Arabia, there's nothing wrong with it. If you follow Saudi, if all of you decide that we're going to follow Saudi Arabia's declaration, there's nothing wrong because someone has made a decision there and they've communicated that decision to the world. So even if they've done something wrong or deliberately done something wrong, it's not on our shoulders. It's on their shoulders. Right? It's not on our shoulders. So follow Saudi Arabia is fine too. And one Imam said it very frankly as well. He said the only way we can get unity is everyone should follow Saudi Arabia. Right? Then we put everything aside. Whatever Saudi Arabia says, we follow. And in England, they do this. In the UK, all the masjids, they follow mostly Saudi Arabia. Because it's very cloudy in UK. Very cloudy, you can't see the moon there. So they say, let's follow Saudi Arabia. Majority of the masjids. Right? So, yeah, go ahead.
Which method does the foundation follow?
The foundation has recently adopted this position of global sighting. Yeah, we used to be with the Hilal Committee 2-3 years ago, but since this has been established, we follow this Crescent Committee.
So that's anywhere in the world?
Anywhere in the world, you see it. Not only see it, it has to be possible according to calculations as well. Right? Yeah. We have the blessings of Sheikh Abdullah Hakim Quick and Dr. Iqbal Nadwi and many others in this procedure, and they're also part of the organization. So, it's not only one type of group. It's an incorporation of many different opinions coming together. Any other questions, sisters? If you have any questions, brothers. Okay, it looks like everyone's expert on the moon now. Okay, good.
Thank you very much, brother, for this informative lecture. In fact, the main bottom line is we want the community to be united, and we're having difference of opinions. So the lecture today was mainly based on giving us the knowledge to decide which way to go and be united under one method of doing our Eid and Ramadan. To do this, what we did was we will do an opinion poll. We have some small papers that you can put your views and say which one you want to follow, the majority wherever it goes, and that's what we are going to follow so that we can be united under one umbrella. So basically that's what we really want, and I hope everybody agrees that. So what we did was we have some papers there. Brother Yusuf is there. He will give the papers, and then you can pass your opinion. That we have got sisters box and a gents box, brothers box. You can put your opinion, and this ballot will be open for opinion will be open for 7 days till Friday. So anybody who is not here can come down, get a paper, and put his opinion there. And based on that, on next Friday, after Jummah, we will calculate it and see how many has favored which side, and accordingly we'll make the decision. So thank you very much, brother, again, for all the trouble of coming here and giving us this beautiful lecture. And I'd like to pass the mic to the Imam.
Jazakallah khair. I have one thing to say before we end this. everybody in their heart, they have an opinion. Nobody is going to ask Dr. Hakeem, what's your opinion? Or Brother Aswad, what's your opinion? Or nobody's going to ask Brother Yusuf, what's your opinion? You have an opinion and you want your voice to be heard, but keeping in mind the unity of the ummah. That's the main thing. Everybody, we have something to say or we have a thought, but when you're given your opinion or if you want your opinion to be heard, just keep in mind everybody that's sitting in this box or every Muslim on the face of this earth, right? And what the majority, what do you think success will be later on, you know? As the Sheikh said, you know, later on, you know, we don't want to make it difficult. We want to make it easier and we want to make sure that the communities in the Muslim Ummah is united under one umbrella. That's the main thing. So keeping that in mind, you know, you probably have a decision inside your heart, but you want to make sure that, you know, you keep that unity aspect in mind, and we want to, you know, agree upon something that everybody else will be happy and everybody will be under the fold of, you know, under that fold. And we've seen everything clear on the presentation. All of our questions are answered. We have nothing else but to just our opinion to be heard, okay? So honestly, we get that out, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make everything easy for us, inshallah. So we'll do dua, inshallah, and then after we have food downstairs that are organized by the sisters. So please, everyone is requested to go downstairs. Okay, so if somebody's not here that's living in Barrie, the papers are going to be available. I have some of them, and they're available, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, till Friday. And then there's also different opinions on there. And if you have a different opinion or if you have a concern on there, you can write it on the line on the bottom. So basically everything is, you know, clear on that piece of paper. If there's something that, if there's a concern or if there's something that you want other to be heard, what was said today, you can write it on that paper and write your name and your email address, and no problem, inshallah. So nobody's going to be left out. Everybody is part of the game, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. We'll make dua and then we head downstairs, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulih Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ya Allah, accept our gathering here today. Ya Allah, fill it with your mercy and your kindness. Ya Allah, the brothers and sisters have come together to establish unity. Ya Allah, unite the hearts of every community member in this specific community. Ya Allah, unite the ummah. Ya Allah, we all have differences and different perspectives, Ya Allah. However, when you spread the love and the kindness, Ya Allah, we unite our hearts despite the differences of the opinions. Ya Allah, strengthen this community. Ya Allah, give happiness to all the families. Ya Allah, establish love and togetherness, peace and tranquility.